As you pick up the ring, you feel a cold, dark pain shoot up through the bones of your arm. Your mind itches. You don't hear, but feel a whisper in the cavity that functions as your ear. It tells you to slip the ring onto your finger.
The ring just got tighter. A lot tighter. Something's right. The ring's gone, but not its curse.
That's plenty.
You made it all this way.
He trembles and seems to shudder with a quiet sob.
I'm cursed, you know. Bloody Braccus bound me here to protect his vault. He has my soul in that jar just there, and I can't leave without it. As long as the jar stays unbroken, I can never truly die. I don't rightly know. This was the Source King's way. Befriend you, then destroy you. I was a fool to expect I'd be an exception. His favor was intoxicating. That's no excuse, but it... Really? You would?
He drops to his knees before you and grabs onto your feet with both hands, head hanging.
Thank you.
good find. It's been cursed. That wand. It hums with inner source.
The jar before you may have looked opulent once, but no longer. Now it's covered in grime, its paint chipped away, and its jewels long stolen. The soul jar rocks slightly, light flashing from underneath its lid. On its rim, you can just barely make out the name Gratiana. As soon as you touch the jar's cracked surface, you see a vision of splendor, silks, fine food, and decadent lechery. But underneath it all lies bone and blood. The vision shifts. You see burning villages, slaughtered women and children. You see her, purging wand in hand, standing amongst it all. She throws her head back and laughter echoes in your skull. A shadow falls across her, and you see a large, weeping face. She reaches out as if to comfort, but Braccus drags her back. You see her fall into the mire of the swamp, trapped. As you pull your hand away, you can feel a deep, longing sadness in your soul. Is it regret, or just sadness for a life that used to be?
Lucky find.
This jar glitters and glows. From within, you think you can make out the distant sound of laughter. With a jerk, your mind is pulled to a scene in a tavern. You see a dwarf in the center of the room, joking us all around roar with laughter. All bar the zombies, who are slavishly serving food and drink. The door opens, and a tall, beautiful woman stalks into the room. She's flanked by heavily armed guards. You can't make out her words, but see the fear in the dwarf's eyes. The dwarf mutters a word, and the undead lurch towards the intruder, but are cut down like wheat. The dwarf tries to run, pushing her friends into the woman's path, but is grabbed before she can escape. As she's dragged away to a tower, you hear her cursing Braccus Rex and his whore. Even when she's thrown inside and the door sealed, you can still hear her shouts. You pull your hand away from the jar, your head swimming. You can feel the dwarf's cold terror still throbbing in your bones.
Lucky find.
The vision fades.
She must have been acting against Braccus Rex for him to have come for her like that.
Keeping the dead as slaves? What a disgusting display. She deserved every punishment she got.
Being locked in a tower was more kindness than any necromancer deserves.
The jar on the plinth before you seems ancient, but is in surprisingly good condition. It's covered in pictograms that you can't understand, but you're sure you just saw one of them move. The pictograms spin to life, and you're dragged into a dream. You see the lizards of the ancient empire turning their backs on you, casting you out into the wilderness. As you roam, the human apes turn away from you, all but one. One smiles, one opens his arms, one says he'll take you home. Braccus Rex. He promises power for a price. He picks off your golden scales, one by one, stripping you down to the bone. He promised you a crown, but all you got was shackles. You try to fight, try to reclaim what's yours, but a woman takes you by the hand and leads you to a tower. He promised he'd take me home, you cry. You are home, she smiles as she seals the door. This is where you belong. Your hand drops away from the soul jar, your bones tingling. In the back of your mind, you hear a small, scared voice whimper before fading to nothing.
Lucky find.
The long-dead lizard's visions fade.
I can't help but sympathize with him. He just wanted to go home.
No amount of loneliness excuses wickedness. He helped a monster for selfish reasons.
What he did shames his people.
The soul jar stands on its plinth, glowing softly. From within, you can almost hear the whisper of a voice. You see, or rather, you feel a far-off land. Frozen breath hangs in the air, pine needles brush your cheeks, and in your arms you can feel a weight. A body, dead. But you have hope. Your vision swims. You're older, but perhaps not wiser. You march at the head of a shambling host, the enemies of Braccus Rex melting before you. The scene twists again. Now Braccus stands before you, a beautiful woman at his side. You lash out in treasonous rage, but cold arms bind you. You're sealed away in a tower. Your screams fill the darkness. You feel a jolt and open your eyes to see the soul jar before you, lying still in the vault. Your hand falls from the jar and grips the pillar as you try to calm your ragged breathing.
Lucky find.
The necromancer's memories fade to black, but the feelings remain.
They may have been a necromancer, but they did not feel evil. Misguided, perhaps.
Anyone who marches at the head of an undead host deserves whatever punishment they get.
One must wonder how many more lives they took, how much more misery the scum caused.
A soul jar rests between two fallen columns, emanating a faint odor of seaweed and timber. When you touch the glass, your vision wavers. You emerge on the prow of a fine ship. Your armor pulses with enchantment, dominating those who draw near. Your flag flies for Braccus Rex, a tyrant who traded for your soul. With his power, your flesh and blood is no longer relevant. The vision fades as the soul thrashes, trying to sever your connection. To be soulless is a horrible, empty fate. You seek out Braccus's vault, but the moment you reach the soul jar, he ensnares you. Thus imprisoned, you can only dream about what is out of reach. Your soul and that alluring armor. The vision shatters as the soul squirms away from you, curling up in the bottom of the jar. The soul jar pulses with trapped life force.
Good find.
The deity's head and hands are missing, severed as if by a sword. You can't tell if this was meant to be symbolic somehow, or a mere act of vandalism. As you take in its chiseled details, you have a vision. The statue comes to life and embraces you awkwardly with its broken arms. Unable to resist, you're flown away into an endless dark.
That shrine seems to have brought me here. What is this place?
walk towards the figure on the dais, but wisps of mist start to cloud your vision. With each step, the mist gets thicker, hiding the figure from sight.
Thane? Thane!
You push through the fog, chasing the voice at breakneck speed. You trip and start to fall, but catch yourself against a bookcase? You look around in shock as the mist clears. You are standing in a library. Your library. You hear a cough behind you and turn to see your assistant, Harina. She hands you a thick book, Observations on the Universal Veil. You look at her in confusion as she explains, "You asked me to bring you your research, Master Fane, for your guest." As you walk through the library, Harina expresses her condolences. It is a shame that the king forbade further investigation into the veil. It was a fascinating topic. She leads you to a door, your study, and pushes it open to introduce your visitor. You step through the door and see the Lady Amadia, one of the 7 lords.
Oh, please, there is no need for ceremony or dusty titles. You may address me as Amadia. I must say, you created quite a stir earlier, dear Fane. The other lords and I were quite impressed with your research. We believe the King's decree that you should not investigate the veil was misguided. We would like to view more of your research. And I see you have already brought me some reading material. Kindly give it here, my boy. The king, the king. Is he truly all our people ever talk about? What of knowledge, young one? What of discovery?
She snatches the book from your hands, thumbing through it, engrossed by your research.
Yes. Yes, quite fascinating. A barrier of pure source. Do you truly think this veil is the key to unlocking a new future? Yes, so we gathered. We found it strange that the king would refuse you the chance to explore something that could be so beneficial to our people. But perhaps there are still paths we can walk. Perhaps.
There is a crash of timber behind you, and you can feel hands grabbing you. You are dragged backwards as Amadia screams. The screams fade to nothing, as does the scene before you. You're standing on the cold, glowing stones once more, with Lady Amadia before you.
Fane, darling Fane. I had to know. I had to be sure. If you were not who you claimed, it could have been a disaster. Who? Anyone, my child. Anyone could be a threat. No one in this world has escaped the madness unleashed by the king. We know why the king forbade your research. He already knew about the Veil, Fane. He was draining its power, leeching from it to build up his own strength. When we confronted him about this betrayal, he used his power to try and subdue us, to turn us to slaves. He wasn't satisfied with our fealty. He wanted total control. His madness for power knew no limits. We fought, of course. The king scorched our land, but by uniting, we overcame his evil. He was banished beyond the veil he had tried to subvert, but our victory was hollow. Our people, oh my child, they were erased, destroyed utterly. We seven were all that remained. I fear that it is. But you must steel yourself. The fight is not yet done. For centuries, the king has been searching for a way back into our world. And beyond the veil, he found the force that could help him do it. The Void. The moment we discovered the Void, we understood the veil was created to hold it at bay by powers even more ancient than us. But thanks to the king, that evil has been seeping through the cracks. We have contained both ever since, but now, alas, they are winning. I fear this is so, but the blame is not mine alone. Once we seven stood united, now...
Amadia turns and gestures to the scene behind her. Down below, you can see the 6 other gods fighting, clawing at each other, everyone desperately trying to get the upper hand.
Over the centuries, the drip of void into this world corrupted the others while they played with their mortal races. I fear it is too late for them, for us. But you, Vayne, you have been untouched by it all. The world needs a power to protect it, and you are the key, Vayne. But you have fallen so far. You will feel whole once again, child. You have my word. I will guide you, but first you must return to the world and escape that island. But you will return more powerful. As your first step towards righting the wrongs of this world, I grant you my blessing and give you the ability to bless in turn.
Amadia stretches her hand out, and you feel a warm glow spread through your bones. You feel a sensation that you have not felt in a very, very long time.
You may have noticed I have tried to help you on your journey. That I can bless the very water beneath your feet. Now you have that power for yourself. And this is only the beginning. More and greater powers await you, if only you will seek them. And seek them you must. But before you begin, a word of warning. I gather that you travel with a pack of these lesser creatures. It is only natural after so long spent alone, but you must be wary. Some of these creatures are more dangerous than they seem. They are God-woken, the chosen champions of the other 6 gods. They will walk the same path as you, but they cannot be allowed to reach its end. You must be the one. Only one can wield the power to stop the king. Only you, Vayne.
She lays her hand on your skull, and you see it clearly. The others, the gods, Amadia, and you. You are her chosen. You are her godwoken.
So go forth into the world with my blessing, dear one. Heed my words and go.